more on the state of the race in the Republican Party. I'm joined now by former Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill of Missouri. It's great to have you. And I guess I start with the political lay of the land now. I mean, he has so flagrantly violated his own CDC's health guidance. He's going to have some big rally on the South Lawn this weekend. And I look at, Mitch McConnell and what he said. I look at these Senate candidates and I got to think this continues to be a disaster and nightmare for them. Is that the right read?
Yes, it is the right read. And, what's really interesting, Chris, is we're beginning to see cracks in the very firm foundation of all of his minions in the Senate that have an R behind their name. When you hear Mitch McConnell say in 2 consecutive days, first, I wouldn't go to the White House because I disagree with the way they've handled safety at the White House, then the earth trembles a little bit. And then second, there will be no stimulus before the election. I mean, that is gut punch 1 and gut punch 2 to the political power of this president. Then add on the whipped cream and cherry of Cornyn to an editorial board in a Texas paper in Houston saying, the president probably should quit lying to the American people. This is astounding. These are 2 senators that are leaders in their party that are from very red states that are scared. And I would use a bad word here, but it's something less. They are scared.
And they're so turned around on this. I mean, this bizarre spectacle in South Carolina tonight, Lindsey Graham and Jamie Harrison, a dead heat race. They were going to have a debate tonight. And Jamie Harrison said, look, you've been in the White House. You've been with Mike Lee. Take a COVID test before we do the debate. Get a negative. We'll do the debate. Eminently sensible. I get tested 2 or 3 times a week now that I'm in 30 Rock all the time. I want to protect the people I love and the people I work with and want to know, right, if I have contracted this. Graham refuses. And I think the reason he refused is because he wants to make sure that he could chair the Judiciary Committee hearing for Amy Coney Barrett next week. And if he gets a positive test, that might be hard. I mean, think about that.
It is really that they are all scared to death. The only hope they have, they are putting all their eggs in the basket of the hearing of Amy Coney Barrett next week. Yeah. So this is where it's going to be hard for all of us who are heartbroken about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and what this president is doing to that seat on the Supreme Court. We want it to stop. We want to do whatever we can with passion and purpose to stop this nomination. They are hoping that the emotion of that hearing somehow bleeds out negatively on Democratic candidates for the Senate. But there is one clear fact. Every single senator that is going to go to that hearing next week should have the test this weekend. Everyone, Democrats and Republicans. That's a reasonable requirement since McConnell has called off the Senate and told everybody to stay home because it's not safe to be in the Senate. Then why the heck wouldn't it be required that every senator in the Judiciary Committee would take the test?
I want to ask about also the president's sort of clear desperation, not just on the rescue package, but now this idea that, he clearly he has been seeding the ground for a long time for some investigation of his political rivals. It's what he was impeached over. It's why he got William Barr to assign John Durham this sort of errand to go dig up dirt on the origins of the Russia case. He's now just out there saying on television, go indict Barack Obama, go indict Joe Biden. And I think everyone kind of rolls their eyes. But it is a pretty awful thing to have the president of the United States telling his AG to do 25 days before an election.
File this under outrage fatigue. It is beyond outrageous that in the United States of America, a few weeks before the election, the president is asking his Department of Justice to arrest his political opponents, to jail them, to put them behind bars. We don't do that in America. We just don't do that in America, Chris. And to say nothing of the fact he's having a political rally at the White House on Friday, We're so busy being mad about the lack of social distancing and the failure of this administration to respect science and doctors and kill people with their lies about this pandemic that we are forgetting that he is tarnishing our House. This is not supposed to be a place for political rallies. It's supposed to be a place where presidents respect the norms of the presidency. So there is so much to be mad about. We are just worn out with mad.
Yeah, it's also not supposed to be the place for like large, flagrant convenings of possible public health disasters, but it has now become sort of that place quite awfully. Former Senator Claire McCaskill, thank you so much.
You bet, Chris.